Hello, this is Audrey and this is my networking CA for load balancing with round robin, and this is my plan for the assignment. This is the client, which is a browser that it would request a file or a HTML or a picture from the server. So it will go to the load balancer first, the load balancer server, and it's running around robin here. So first it would connect to the load balancer server socket, which is running on port 1234, and then it would sends back a string and redirects the client to the specific backend server. So here's my for backend server. It's the content server, but I call it backend, and also it's called the server port in my Java code. So it redirects the client to the specific backend server, and it will just go to the directed backend server to get the file, and then it would send the file back if it exists back to the client, and that's one task done. So the load balancer is running a thread, so multiple client can request for a web page at the same time, and then it would just send it back to them and allocate them or redirect them to the backend servers. So here it's round robin, so it's first come first serve. So the first client will go to 2001, second will go 2002, third will go 2003, fourth, and then the fifth, sixth, seven, and eight would just go like this. And I would now go through my code. So I have a main app that starts the web server, and the web server is just actually where the load balancing is. So first it would just go to the web server, and it would create the socket with port 1234. The IP address is my localhost. I'm using all localhost in my this CA because it's easier to work things out. Like I can um, still handle them easily. And so when I create the first server, the load balancing server, then I create four of the server ports, which is the content server. So it would start four of them, and they will start listening. So the first connection comes in, and then it would put the connection and then the port number that it will redirect it to. So when one connection comes in, and then it would just give it the port number would be 2000. So the first one comes in, it would be 2000 plus 1, so it's 2001. The second one would be 2002, 2003, and 2004. So when it's 2004, it would change it back to 2000 again, so that it would be 2001, 2002 again. So it accept the connection and then put the connection and the port that it's given, and then create a thread here to start the thread. And then what's in my load balancer, it's the redirecting mechanism. It's all in this, so it would read in the line and then remove the get from it. So put the next token, um, get the next token, and then um, into the file name, and then it would send back this status line 301 redirecting. This is not working on the browser, but it's working on the Java compile here. I don't know why. And it sends back the status line, and then it sends back the reply, which is localhost, and then change the port number to whatever it specifies it, and then the file name that they sent it here, and then close the uh, output stream and then the buffer reader and then close the socket. So this connection is done, and then it would go to the server port now, and it would connect to the server port, and the server port is also a thread, so it would just start listening and then accept the connection accepted on this part, and I just skip through this because this I don't think I used this. And then the request dot start. The request is a HTTP request, which it in HTTP request it goes and get the data and check the file if it exists and then get the data and send it back. So here is the code, and yeah, so this is the calendar, and it gets the starting time and then starting time minus the finish time, and it gets the duration. Then the output stream, the buffer reader, it does the same. It first read in the request line and then get the file name, and um, then it would check if the file exists. If it exists, then send back this status line with 200 OK. Or if the file doesn't exist, then it would send back 404 not found. And so here it sends back the status line, and then it would send this empty string to show that the header line is finished. And then if the file exists, it would go and do this send bytes, which it opens the file, and there's this function down there. It would just get opens the file and get all the data in it and put it into this byte array and send it over to the client. And then here's the finish time, and then here's the calculation for the duration, and then close all the streams and socket. So this thread is done here, and then after that all the details will be written onto the log file. So probably in the log file, some of them started early but they finished later. So in the log file they might be written out on the log file like after some parts, like maybe 2003 finish earlier than part 2002, so it would be written out first, then it would write the 2002 data details into the log file. That's the server side, and then on the client side it's client thread, which has 3 URLs, so it would go random and pick one of them every time. So there would be no, I would just continue with this part first. So we'll put the URL here and call it object, and then open the connection, and then send the request set the request method as get, and here it would get the response code, set yeah, get the response code, and then here get and set request property, and here okay. So here it would just put the URL and then connects it, and then set the request method, and then here it would wait for the response code. So now it will return it the response code, which is 301 redirect and then redirect it to the backend ports, and then here it would just get input stream read in, that's the response code, and here it reads in the URL, redirected URL, and then yeah, so here it gets the response message, and it will skip over the get and then get the redirected URL and connect it again, and then request request the URL with the get method, with the get keyword, and then it would get the response code if it's found 200 or 404, I think 404 or 401. And 404. And so, and then after that it would read in all the data and details in the file and print it out. And that's what it's doing in the client thread. And then the client generator is how many client do I want to generate. And this is t.start, which I want to mention because I did mention it in my documentation that it's not starting if I go t.run, and it would just run one, and then the second thread would just wait until the first one is finished, and then it would start the second one and then start the third one. So it won't really be load balancing on the server side unless like all the most of the client comes like at the same similar time, like close. So now I'm gonna run my main app. And yep, so port 1234 socket created, and then socket 2001 234 is created, and they're listening, so they are waiting for a client. So I would generate 10 clients here. Hope it generates more pictures, then you can see the difference. So it's in a mess. Okay, it's done, and then here is my main app, and it's in a mess because like connection 1, connection 2, connection 3, and it's redirected to 2001, 2, 3, 4 in the correct order. And it's okay because in my log file everything is nicely oriented. And yeah, so here is my file, and here is 2001. It starts at 571 and ended at 798. So this started first, and then 2002 579, 2003 here 566, and then 580. So it starts this, and then it goes to 2002, and it goes 2003 and 2004. But while this is finishing up, like when it's finished at 798, um 2002 has already finished its task by 53 milliseconds. So it goes in later than the 2001, but it finished earlier. That's why it's written out earlier. So while one task is getting done, like maybe another task is smaller, the size of the file is smaller, so it would just get done and then wait and listen for the next task. So here is my server address, my client address, and this is the client port, and the start time with milliseconds, and end time and the duration. So this is my full log file, and I think that's everything. So I hope you like um, my screencast, and thank you for watching.